Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Yes, again, as with the beginning of every one of these calls, the reminder of choice that you have, I have, that we all have. And what is that choice all about? It's about our thoughts. Remember, it all starts in the mind. Everything begins in the mind. As within, so without. See, that's where it leads to. You want to change the without, you've got to deal with the within. And that's what you have control over. That's the only thing you have control over. And that's our invitation to you when you're maneuvering through your life in every moment of your life to shift the narrative inside so that you can live your life the way that you would love it to be. And that right there is something that's amazing, incredible, and something that does definitely deliver something beautiful, provided, and here's the key component here, provided you build something beautiful inside. See, remember, seed, plant, blossom, fruit. You reap what you sow. What you plant within you is what shows up on the outside. And again, that's what we invite to you. That's what we invite for you to use in your life. And again, that's really, really awesome. Now, before we proceed, we have to remind you that we have an event coming up on the 14th called Emergence, where we're going to be diving deep into practical use of this information and to help you to understand even more what's going on inside and how to change that, because that's what we need in order to change the outside. So go to elevitality.com and register for Emergence and invite someone else to come along with you, because it'll be amazing and incredible. Yes, it is. Now, with that being said, here in this call, make sure you do have your goal card with you and that you are looking at this, connecting with this, and using this information to connect with that so that it gets delivered in the outer world. Now, for that, let's talk about what we've been studying. We've been studying this beautiful gem here, The Science of Getting Rich. And this is a wonderful book by Wallace Wattles. And if you don't have a copy of this, get this specific copy. And when you do get it, underline it, highlight it, and most importantly, use it in your life. Remember, application is where it's at. Information, knowledge has no power in and of itself. The only way that it has power is when it's used, is when it's applied. So apply this and apply it as if your life depends on it. You know why? Because it does. All right, so you ready? Are you ready to dive into this? Type in the comments, I'm ready. If you're ready, let's go ahead and step into this, shall we? Let's go for it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, boom. Oh, there we go. What happened here? Oh, I gotta switch this way. There it is. Ta-da! There we go. Now we're on page 117. And here, Wallace Wattles talked about how anyone who uses this, law, who operates from thinking from within and attaches to their faith and purpose to do it, can deliver increase to anyone, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a business owner, whether it's an athlete. It doesn't matter what it is. And he pointed this out in the previous paragraphs. And what he says here is what is true of the teacher, preacher, and physician, because that's what he talked about in the previous chapters before this. And the physician is true for the lawyer, the dentist, the real estate man, insurance agents, for everybody. Now think about that. He's talking about principle here. He's talking about law. He's talking about how it's something that determines everything. Remember, there is a science to getting rich. There is a science to delivering an outcome. Everything starts within and moves to the without. Now here, he goes even further. The combined mental and personal action I have described is infallible. It cannot fail. Underline that. Matter of fact, type that in the comments. It cannot fail. Every man and woman who follows these instructions steadily, perseveringly, and to the letter will get rich. It works 100% of the time that it's used, and it fails miserably when it's not used. He actually points that out in the beginning of the book, how, people ask this question, well, how can you be sure that this works? And then he brings up practical examples of people who have dove in and used it, and they got rich. And the ones who got the information and didn't use it, they didn't get rich. Now, sit in that for a moment. The combined mental and personal action I have described as infallible. It cannot fail. Every man and woman who follows these instructions steadily, perseveringly, and to the letter will get rich. The law of increase of life is mathematically certain in its operation as the law of gravitation. Getting rich is an exact science. Now, underline that. Getting rich is an exact science. Now, sit in that for a moment. It's an exact science. Remember, seed, plant, blossom, fruit. Now, I'm repeating this on purpose. Why? Because I want it to get into you so that you understand it, so that you use it. When you plant an apple seed, what do you get? You get apples. When you plant an avocado seed, what do you get? You get avocados. When you plant any kind of seed, it always produces after its own kind. That's a theme throughout the Bible. That's actually the main theme. And this is not to be churchy with you, but it's to share with you a principle that's embedded within those beautiful chapters. Everything produces after its kind. Now, here, when he talks about gravitation, gravitation doesn't care about what's there. I mean, I have a book, let go, what's going to happen? Boom, it falls. I have this tube right here, let go, boom, it falls. It doesn't care about it. In terms of my phone, it doesn't care. Whoosh. Actually, my handheld computer device, right? Let go, boom. Gravity doesn't care about any of these things. The purpose of gravity is to enforce gravity. Well, you have cause and effect. You have the perpetual transmutation of energy. All of it is amoral, and it gets enforced regardless of whether or not you're knowledgeable or ignorant of it. Now think about that, because this is what he's pointing out here, and what he's wanting you to get is what he's wanting you to understand. Let's read this again. The combined mental and personal action I have described is infallible. It cannot fail. Every man and woman who follows these instructions, what's shared within every chapter of this beautiful book, steadily, perseveringly, and to the letter, will get rich. The law of increase of life is mathematically certain as the operation and law of gravitation. Getting rich is an exact science, and 100% it is. Now, the wage earner will find this as true of the case as any others mentioned. Do not feel that you have no chance to get rich because you are working where there is no visible opportunity for advancement, where wages are small and the cost of living high. See, what is he saying here in this section of the paragraph? He's saying, don't be controlled by the circumstances. Don't be controlled by what you see. Don't be controlled by what's in your present environment or the outcomes that have happened because of your past thinking. Remember when we went over this in chapter 4? In the first principle of the science of getting rich, how he talks about how there's nothing that shrinks the minds of more men and women than that of sustained and consecutive thought. It is the hardest work in the world, especially when truth, in other words, how you would love things to be, is contrary to the appearance. It's difficult to think from how you would love things to be when all this evidence is on the outside. But when you can think that truth, when you do, you have power. You can get what you want. See, that's what he's talking about here. No matter what circumstance you're in right now, don't allow it to dictate how you feel about yourself or to dictate what you're going to maneuver from. always go within and operate from an image of how you would love things to be. Now, before we proceed further, for those of you who are watching this live stream and are finding this to be intriguing and feel that this could serve you in a big, beautiful way, can help you, and by the way, it can help you, you need this, then I recommend that you go to elevitality.com and register for Master Your Mind so you can access the rest of these calls and the recordings. You'll thank yourself later. Now let's proceed even further.